Hello everyone, it's Leah here. Thank you for stopping by and taking your time to watch this video. I have a special treat for you today. The set of these two greeting cards and this tag. And what is special about it is that I made all these three projects from leftovers, and those leftovers were from my album. I created album with the same papers with Fruit Flora from Graphic 45, and all the papers and tags and those chipboard embellishments that were left from my album I used to create these three projects. So what I wanted to show you with this project is how you can use your leftovers, actually your scraps, that no paper is wasted, even if you have like lots of papers left from like your albums or other projects. Usually when you have some birthday party to attend, or some other party, you always bring with your present a card or a tag. And these tags, I was planning to create this tag to like celebrate people's birthdays, and these papers are so beautiful. They have like these florals and fruit images on it, and they can be used for any birthday in any season. But let's say now is summer season, and what can be better than to use these beautiful papers with these floral and fruit images. I would like to show you how I created these three things, two cards and a tag, in a tutorial. I made two videos. In first video, I will be showing you how to make this bigger card, and then in a tutorial part 2, I will show you how I created this smaller card and a tag, and I will also put a link below where you can find the album that these papers were created from the leftovers. Now I invite you to come closer and show you this project, and then you can decide if you want to make one of these. And don't forget, this is only part 1, part 2 is coming. In part 1, we will be making this card. This is larger card, and let me go over very quickly. So here on the top is 3D frame. I hope you can see. And then in the frame is this beautiful card with a quote. And then down here and up here are two chipboard embellishments. And let me show you the inside of the card. So down here you have a larger card that is tucked behind the smaller image. And this card is used for like birthday wishes you can write. And here on the top is like a card with like life. What I like about this Graphic 45 cards is they have very beautiful like life quotes, and you don't usually, when I write cards, I always put some quote in the card, not just well wishes. So these cards are perfect, and you don't have to write anything, just adhere the ephemera card into your card, and that's it, and then you're done. And also okay, now let's go here on the back. So on the back is just this paper. Okay, so this is for part 1, and then in part 2 of the video we will be making this smaller card. And here on the this flap is also 3D. I don't know if you can see. And then this, like, it makes your card really sturdy, and it looks so much more beautiful than just a regular cardstock. And then here on the top is like larger card, and in the middle of the card is this chipboard embellishment, and embellishment is also, like, you can see, like 3D. And here at the bottom and on the top, they're like rhinestones, or no, actually these are pearls, also from Graphic 45. And then when you open the card, you have here, like, I cut out these two borders from cards, and then here you have a card to write well wishes, and here I left empty. So you will be also left with some smaller cards with quotes, so you can put that smaller card up here if you want to, or if you want to write something yourself, you just place white paper and then just write something with your handwriting. So this is small. Oh, and here on the back I forgot, and on the back you have like 2 papers, and then this smaller image is also, you can write like to and from who this card is and who the recipient is. So you can write to and from. Okay, this is card for the part 2 of the tutorial, and then also this tag is included in part 2 of the tutorial. And this tag, you can see it's not just cardstock, it's very sturdy, it's made out of chipboard, and look at this tag, it really looks much more prettier than just tag made on a regular cardstock. Okay, and let me go through, let me show you the tag. Here on the top you can see this butterfly from chipboard sheet, and then there are here like these 3 pearls. They make really beautiful body of the butterfly. And here I wanted to achieve this look of the butterfly wings. I mean this edge that makes like butterfly wings. Okay, and then also this butterfly is attached onto another 3D chipboard. And then here is also chipboard, and this is chipboard piece. And then this piece is also adhered onto a chipboard. And this tag can be used for writing who the tag is from and who the recipient is. So actually the same as on this, on this larger card, you can write to and from. And then here on the back, so I also added something on the back of the card that it's not empty. And on the back of the card, of the tag, you can write your well wishes or whatever you want to write. These are 3 projects that we are going to learn in next step-by-step tutorials. Let's start making our cards. For card 1, you will need 2 pieces for the base, and first piece will be bottom of the card, and cut your cardstock at 6.5 by 7 inches. And then piece 2, this will be top part of your card, of your base of the card. Cut a cardstock at 6.5 by 7 3/4 of an inch, and then on 7 3/4 of an inch side, make a score line at 3/4, and then fold. Use a bone folder to burnish well, and do not cut. Usually with hinges you cut your corners, but this time you will not cut them, and you will glue top part onto the bottom part. So take your liquid glue or apply score tape onto your hinge, and then score line of piece 2 with top edge, this is 6.5 inch edge of your bottom part of the card. So line them nicely, and then make sure that side edges are also aligned, and burnish well with your bone folder to make sure your pieces stick well together. But what I like to use for this is my number 1 tool with hinges. I want them to be really glued well together, so I use these paper clips. Especially it's important on each side, to put them on each corner. And wait for a while for glue to dry. But if you use score tape, then you don't have to wait. You can just continue with matting and creating your piece or your card or whatever you're creating. Now cut papers to match the top of the card. Cut two pieces of this paper at 6 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch, and one strip of this paper will go here at the bottom, and then cut this piece of paper at 6 3/8 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And next is this piece at 6 3/8 of an inch by 3 3/4 of an inch. And then next, oh, it's this green paper that goes right here. It's, let me repeat, it's 6 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. And then here on the top will go this paper. And the size of the paper is 6 3/8 of an inch by 1 3/8 of an inch. And that's how your papers should be placed. So now let's go and mat them onto the cardstock. I use this ink pad just to for a weight that my papers don't move. Okay, this is how your top of the card looks matted. And now we will create a frame. And of course we will use one large ephemera card. And I will use this ephemera card. And I cut two frames from, I think this is like 1 millimeter chipboard. Yeah, it's 1 millimeter chipboard. And cut two pieces of chipboard at 5 7/8 of an inch by 4 inches. So you need to cut two pieces, and then you will create 3/8 of an inch border. So you will just have to measure from each corner in 3/8 of an inch, and then you will make pencil marks and then draw lines, and then cut out this frame, I mean the opening for the frame, and then apply score tape to, or liquid glue, whatever you like to use. And I used score tape here, and then glue these two pieces together. The reason why I used two pieces is to make my frame like more 3D looking. And why I didn't use like thicker chipboard and just cut one piece instead of two pieces is because like the thinner chipboard, the easier it is to cut. That's why I always like to use like thinner chipboards, and then just glue like more layers together to create more 3D looking piece. But otherwise you can use like thicker if you would like, but I prefer and I suggest you use like thinner chipboard. And now take this black tape, and this tape is 1 inch wide. So what you will do is peel off the tape. Just make sure you have the strip that is long enough, and then place your one edge of your frame, place onto your tape, and make sure you leave enough tape on both sides of each edge, because you're gonna wrap this tape around edges, and then have around ½ inch tape left on each side edges of your frame. Okay, then cut it off. Okay, so now what you will do here, on each corner, just make a cut and here also cut on diagonal, and just make sure you don't cut right next to this corner. And now do like that. Just wrap your tape around edges, and here use bone folder and make sure that it's nicely glued on edges, otherwise it's not gonna look nice. Okay, there we go. And if you have some excess of tape here at the corner, just use your bone folder and just fold it to the inside. And also here, you see, just fold it to the inside, and then use your scissors and make a cut here on the inside of each corner, like that, like this, and here. And now wrap. Now you can go all the way to your chipboard, and now wrap the tape around inner edge of the frame. Okay, then turn your piece over and make sure the tape is really well glued onto the chipboard. And now here on this edge, just wrap around like this, leftover of your tape, just wrap it around the edge. And here, look at on the outside, and then also here wrap around. If you see you left too long strip on each side, then just you don't want it to hang over this edge, then just cut it slightly so it doesn't go over the edge, because then otherwise it will be visible from the front. Okay, and now burnish very well to make sure your tape is glued very well onto chipboard. And again, and here you make sure on each corner you go with bone folder. Okay, then you will do the same on the other side. Peel off the tape and ½ inch from the edge. And then repeat the same as you did on the other edge. Okay, and now you need to cover side edges with your tape. So now just go and make sure you tape from this side, that is the right side of the frame, and now go from this corner. Don't go from that edge. So then just apply tape right here. I will just cut it here and then here on this side. Okay. And then just peel off very, very carefully. And then use your scissors and then cut along these cuts. And then do the same on the other side. I mean, first, of course, you have to tape this edge here, and then when you are finished, you will do the same on this edge. So okay, your frame is all finished and taped with this tape, and now you will have to mat the frame. And for matting, I will use this paper from Patterns and Solids, but not this pattern, the solid red color. And first I will cut it and then I will get back to you. Cut this red paper at 5 3/4 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch, and then measure in from each corner 1/4 of an inch, and then cut out the opening for the frame. So take your chipboard frame, and then I apply score tape to the back of your frame and remove only one strip, because you want to make sure that your frame is aligned correctly onto your bottom frame. Okay, this is how your frame should look. And now you will cut the same piece of cardstock as your chipboard frame. So that means cut one piece, and you can cut only one piece. So cut one piece at 5 7/8 of an inch by 4 inches. So this needs to be at 5 7/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And first you need to tape your corners. Take your tape and then place your chipboard one edge onto your strip of tape, like that. Okay, and then just glue it down. Then here at the corner, make a cut and fold this piece here. Okay, and now here at the corner, turn your tape to cover this side, this edge, and now make a cut here at the corner, but don't cut all the way. Don't cut all the way, because you will make a V cut here at the corner. Okay, like that. You have to turn around. Okay, and now what you will do here, oh, and you have to do the same on the other side. Here, turn around again. Oops. And here, make cut. and you will make V-cut like so, and then make and tape this down, and then also make V-cut here on this corner. And then also make some more V-cut here. And then just continue until you come to this edge. I mean, until you come to the beginning of your, where you started. And when you come to the end, just make straight cut here. Okay, now let's go and glue and tape this down. So now your chipboard is wrapped with tape, and now take this card, and this card I sized down to 5 5/8 of an inch by 3 3/4 of an inch, and then place your card at the desired position, and then place this frame on top of the card. And then just move the card until and make sure edges of both pieces of the bottom chipboard and this frame are aligned. And then just move your card until you are satisfied with the position. And I already put score tape on around the edges of the card. So now just peel off one tape backing, just on one side, and adhere the card down, and then place your frame back on top just to check if your card is still at the right position. I think it is. So now peel off the rest of tape backing, and you can place and you can apply some liquid glue to the rest of the card that is not applied with score tape, because you just want to make sure that this card is really adhered onto your chipboard. Okay, so now you will apply score tape to the back of your frame, and I will use, let me see if this is enough. Okay, I will use this score tape again. Peel everything off, and then you will adhere the frame on top of your card. Set your frame aside, and then take your card again. And before, I forgot to tell you, you also need to cut a piece of paper, this yellow paper, at 6 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. And this paper, you will adhere this paper here. You will line it with bottom edge of this yellow pattern paper. Now take an element from chipboard sheet and apply score tape to the bottom part of the chipboard, and you will center this piece onto this yellow strip of paper. So just center this element in the middle part of the paper and make sure these holes are on the paper. And now take 2 pearls. I chose black. You can choose any pearls you want, and apply some glue into these holes. Place pearls on top, and then here also on this side. Take your bone folder and just push pearls to the hole. Then take your frame again, and you will adhere your frame around 1/4 inch above this chipboard piece, and then I think it should be around 5/16 inch from each side edge. And I already applied score tape to the back of the frame. And I just feel there is something missing here on the top. So take this little chipboard piece and just center it here to middle section on top of your frame. And now your outside of the card is finished. So let's move to the inside. Okay, let's go to the inside. And first we will mat this side. And for this, you will need, for the hinge, cut 6 3/8 inch by 5/8 inch piece of paper, and then place it onto the hinge. And then cut this red paper with sayings at 6 3/8 inch by 3 9/16 inch, and then just line top edge with the edge of your of the hinge. And then this green paper is cut at 6 3/8 inch by 2 inches, and then this one is 6 3/8 inch by 1/2 inch, and this paper will be placed down here. Okay, let's go and mat them. And also you will need to accessorize this card, the inside of the card a little bit more. So you will need to cut out this tag from 8x8 paper, and then cut piece of cardstock slightly larger than your tag to form 1/16 inch border around the tag. So now glue this piece down. Turn your card over and then apply score tape to 3/4 inch part here at the bottom of the card, and then you will center this card 1/2 inch or let me see, or is it? Yeah, ½ inch. You will center the card ½ inch from bottom edge of this green paper, and just center it to the middle part of your paper. And the reason why you didn't apply score tape to the whole area of your card is because you will tuck then larger tag behind the small card, and take your ephemera card and cut it down to 5 3/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch, and then cut a piece of cardstock at 5 7/8 inch by 3 7/8 inch, and adhere ephemera card to the piece of cardstock. And now tuck your ephemera card behind the tag, and look at how pretty it looks. And you can use this ephemera card for journaling, or you can tuck something else behind it. Now let's match top part of the inside of the card, and cut first paper at 6 3/8 inch by ½ inch. And then place this paper on top section of the flap. And next paper you will need to cut is, no, actually it's this red paper, and cut it down to 6 3/8 inch by 3 7/8 inch, and place it below yellow paper. And next paper you will need to take is this green pattern paper, and cut it down to 6 3/8 inch by 1.5. And again this yellow paper, cut at 6 3/8 inch by 3/4 inch. And this is how your papers should be laid on the flap. And now let's go and glue them down. And I decided my card needs some more embellishing, and for this I will use this ephemera card, and I need to size it a little bit down. I sized the card down to 3 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch, and then take a piece of cardstock and cut it down to 3 7/8 inch by 5 7/8 inch, and glue both pieces together. Glue the paper onto the flap, to the inside. I will use score tape. You can use liquid glue, but I prefer to use score tape. So center the tag around about 1/8 inch from top edge of red paper, and then just peel off tape backing and glue and adhere the card down. So let's not forget about the back of the card, and to mat the back of the card you will need this piece of paper and cut it at 6 3/8 of an inch by 6 7/8 of an inch, and then glue the paper onto the cardstock. Your card is finished. I hope you enjoyed making it, and look how pretty it looks, made just from scraps that were left from the album that I made. So you can really make very beautiful cards with your leftovers.